from Handmade After Dark. Thank you for joining me tonight. It is Tuesday the 26th of August, so it is time for my weekly online class to go. And this week I'm featuring the Choose Happy stamp set. Now just before we kick off, I am testing out scheduling my stream, so I just want to make sure that this is actually going live, and it looks like it is, which is fantastic. So that makes me happy. It worked. All right, let me just get the chat going. All right, let's get into it. So these are the 3 cards that we'll be making for this week's class. So for those who aren't familiar with the online class to go, so I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Australia, so this is only available to those in Australia. If you place an order of $75 or more before shipping and after any redeeming any Stampin' Rewards between now and Saturday, I will send you the kits to make 2 each of the 3 cards, so 6 cards in total. So you do need the stamp set or something similar, because I can't send stamped images, of course. And if there are dies associated with that stamp set, you will also need those dies. For this one, there aren't. It's just things like the stylish shapes, the banner and the circles, which I will send you. The little penguins on this one are fussy cut. So that is that. So let me just quickly show you. This is the stamp set, the main stamp set that is used, and I'll admit the only reason I bought this stamp set was because I wanted that candle to recreate a few cards I'd seen from this stamp set. This one I'm using as well, just for one of the sentiments. This is one of the newer online exclusives. I do really like this one. And then I'm also using a little cheer just for the Merry Christmas sentiment. So you can use whatever sentiments you've got. You don't have to use those ones, of course. And try not to throw everything out of the way. We will start with this little one. So this one, with this one, there is a Night of Navy card base, and then so I have pre-stamped and fussy cut my little penguin, so you don't have to sit and watch me fussy cut. I still need to colour them, but that's fine. It's only a little bit of colouring. And then so I've used the Snowflake Sky embossing folder. Now this one is it is now retired, so it was on last chance list. It has now gone, but I send the embossed pieces, so you don't have to worry about that. So the blue for the Misty Moonlight, this is the 2-tone cardstock, and we're going to lightly sand this, so you can see that you can already see little bits of the white poking through. We're going to sand that to bring out a little bit more. And then basic black, 2 pieces of basic white, one for the insert and the other one. So I have actually laid these 2 pieces on top of a basic white piece, which then sits on the basic black. I just find for me that particularly because we are tearing and layering the white, it is easier if you are layering it on a separate piece, because you want to maintain the black border. So it's much easier to do it on a piece that you want to cover in full. Much easier to make sure that you are doing that. So let's just move some of these pieces out of the way. We will do the stamping and colouring first. So, try not to send things all over the place. I am going to use Misty Moonlight ink for this sentiment. So the Merry Christmas from the A Little Cheer stamp set comes in, it's 2 separate stamps, so I've just joined them together. Well, joined them on the block. And when I embossed the white, I left a little bit at the bottom so that we can stamp the sentiment and that one is good to go. Now let's just quickly colour these. So I'm going to use a Stampin' Write marker. Now, as I mentioned last week, these are now being discontinued, so they are on the last chance list. You could also use Stampin' Blends, although there is no crushed curry Stampin' Blend, but you could always use Daffodil Delight or Darling Duckling. So that's fine, just use what you've got. You could also use the watercolor pencils if you've got those, or the pastels. I will be using the Brights markers, which I used last week as well. I'll be using that in the second card, the one with all the birthday candles. Alrighty, let's move those out of the way. And so for the Misty Moonlight, we just want to bring in a sanding block, and it doesn't need to be anything fancy. This is a very old Stampin' Up! One, but any sort of sanding block, sandpaper, you know, emery board, this sort of thing, anything like that will work fine. And we're just going to lightly sand, and particularly with this one, because you've got there's lots of little pieces, you don't need to apply a huge amount of pressure, maybe a little bit more on the snowflakes. And it also just depends how much white you want showing through. I want to try and get a little more on the snowflakes, but it doesn't need too much. All right, I reckon that should just about do it. And I will just, because it'll end up blowing up everywhere. That's better. All right. Now, so if we take the basic white piece, and I won't stick this down just yet, but the Misty Moonlight will sit up at the top, and then we're going to tear the white. So the first piece we want, we want a decent chunk, and you don't need to do anything fancy, just, a rough curve. So that one is going to sit at the bottom, and then we will just do something similar with this one. So just about, roughly halfway with what's left, and then just decide, which piece you want showing where. Decide on your layering. Just want to get it, roughly. The main thing is to make sure that, the entire thing, the entire piece will be covered. You don't have any gaps, and we should be pretty good because the piece was big enough anyway, and as we're laying it, so I think I'm happy with that. So let's take this one out. We'll stick this one down first, and I'll use the green glue because this is embossed, so it just makes it a little bit easier, and I find it tends to stick a bit better. All right, it's down, so we want, just remembering that we don't want a border on this, so we want to be right up at the top edge. I'm just going to pick this up so I can just adjust it and make sure it's covered, and just slide it around very slightly as I need to. There we go. Now we need to layer, we need to start with the top piece, and we also need to think about where we want the little penguins to sit, because we kind of want to sit them in between and possibly tuck them under. So I think I'm going to stick one there, and I reckon I'll put another one over there, and then another one probably sitting about there. So I'm going to keep that, just find it much easier to keep the pieces roughly in place so I can see where everything is meant to sit, and make sure it all ends up in the right spot and I don't end up with, you know, any massive gaps anywhere. So I'm just going to slip that under there, and then just make sure, before, I haven't pressed it down properly just yet, I want to make sure, yeah, I'll just slide that down just a touch. There we go. And just make sure it's covered side to side. And then that will sit there, and that will sit there. And we are all good. Okay, you do not need as much glue as I've got, but and again I'm just going to pick it up and just slide it around to make sure it's, now I'm not going to press down too much here yet, because so that one's going there, this one is going here, so I want to stick him down because he's going to sit behind. Just going to add a little bit of adhesive. Actually, I can probably add a little bit more so that he's properly stuck down, but he's going to sit under there just a tad. Still want to be able to see his feet, and then we can press the rest of that down. This one's going to sit over the top, so we can put him down last, and we're good to go with this one. And again, I won't press down at the top straight away. I'm just going to line it up at the bottom. Make sure it's all the way across. Make sure it hasn't gone too far over there. That's all good. Now we can add a little bit of adhesive to this one. Actually, let's move him over there. Alright, and then the final one, sit up at the top. And just make sure they're all stuck down properly. Alrighty, now let's stick this down on our basic black. So this one's got a very thin border, so you do want to be careful with lining this one up. Definitely going with the green glue for this one, because I'm not that good at lining up the super fine borders, but I do like the super fine borders. And the green glue just gives you a little extra time. So we can move that around. There we go. It's all good. Just press that down, and then we will bring in our card base and the insert. So all we need to do stick this to the front, and I'm just going to just a little too much too close to the edge there. Pop this one down. Actually, I might pick this one up. It's because it's quite dark. It is a little more difficult to see. That's all right. And then we will just add the insert. I'll just use Stampin' Seal for this one. Move that out of the way. Oh, I did not get a good line there. Cannot see my score line there, but we will just eyeball it and hope for the best. Alrighty, now all that is left is to embellish, and for this one I have used some of the Shimmer Star foam stickers. So these are from the last lot of online exclusives. So there's black, purple and white. I'm just going with some of the white ones. Go with some of the big ones, some of the small. Actually, I'm gonna move that one. Up you go. There we go. Alrighty. Card number 1 is done. Once we get the hair out of the way and stick that back down properly. Alrighty, that is first one done. There's your first Christmas card. First 2, because you get 2 kits. Alrighty, let's put that one to the side, and then we'll bring in this one. So this one I'm using Poppy Parade for the base. I decided I wanted to try and use some colours that I don't use as often and should use. So we've got some basic white for the insert. I'll put that to the side for the moment. And some Floaty Flamingo cardstock, some more basic white, a strip of Bubble Bath, and some ombre glimmer paper. And I'm just going to double check that I've got the right. Yes, I do. All good. Just had a brief moment thinking it was not quite big enough, but it is. Now, for this one, we need to stamp a line of the candle. Now, straight lines are not my strength. So I am going to cheat a little bit. Now, let's just see how far down did I go roughly. So it's about probably 3.5-ish centimeters down. Probably not quite that far, but now I need to move this off the edge so I can actually line it up. But I am going to, now hopefully that is straight. Excuse my head if it's getting in the way. Easy to go with the right hand on this one. That's close enough. You don't have to do that particular part. That is just me not being able to do a straight line particularly well. That's all right. Now I just want to double check. Don't mind me, I'm just checking one little thing. Just making sure that everything is working as it should be. Excellent. Yes, it is, although comments are not coming through, but that's all right. Hello, Renee. Hello, Dimity. Thank you for joining. A little bit annoying that comments aren't coming through because I do like to be able to see those, but never mind. I will just keep checking and hopefully it will sort itself out later. Alrighty, now let's get back to it. So we're just going to stamp with the Memento Black, and just want to get as even a line as you can. So I'm going to try and roughly line up with the line that I drew, but bear in mind straight lines are not my forte, and neither is gaps in between. So I'm already further apart than I wanted to be, but that's all right. don't think I've got enough room to go adding in between, not without it looking a bit too cramped. That will have to do. I'd prefer it to be, I don't think I can, I'm just going to do, this probably won't work, and fortunately it won't matter, so I'm just going to quickly do this and see if I can manage to do this vaguely decently, then I will, and I'll switch to this side. I've done this without the line, so I'm probably going a bit crooked, but we shall see. And that is, it is also part of the reason I have a feeling, yes, I have gone downhill a little bit there. But can we kind of, we could kind of hide that just about, almost. What do you reckon? Can we hide that? I mean, I could always do a crooked line. I'll think about it. Before we colour, I will just stamp the sentiment. And I'll just check that it's actually, yeah, got enough ink. Okay. Alrighty. Alright, so what do we reckon? So I just, because I'm covering up the bottom anyway, I reckon we can, yeah, let's do it. Why not? Why not? Alright. Now we just need to colour, so I'm bringing the Stampin' Write markers in, but you can, of course, use blends as well. I decided to use these before they announced that they were going to be discontinuing them. I wanted to show them a bit of love, because they don't get used as much anymore. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we'll go, just so we're not having to go back and forth to the different colours. But yes, I decided they don't get used as much anymore, and I wanted to show them a bit of love, so decided I'd use them. Ended up using them for a couple of different weeks, and then they announced that they were being discontinued, so good timing. Now, while I colour in, before I forget, the 12 Weeks of Christmas series is coming up too. So that is a 12-week series that I do with a couple of my friends, Connie from Great Stamping with Connie and Terry from Rustic Barn Cards, and we send out an email each week with a PDF tutorial and a video with a Christmas project. And we also have make and take kits available for purchase if you want to get the kits to craft along with us. And so you need to be on my email list to receive the tutorials and the videos. So if you're not already on my email list, if you just head to my blog at handmadeafterdark.com.au and sign up to my newsletter, then you will be able to get all those videos, and I will be running some other different series with PDF tutorials and videos throughout the year as well. For those of you who have signed up to the kits, I haven't forgotten. I will be sending out the invoices for those soon. So if you've signed up recently and haven't heard from me yet, don't worry, you are on the list. You have not missed out. I will be getting those out very soon. Alrighty, nearly there. And we need the yellow for the candle as well. Alrighty, let's nearly there. Apologies, I am not a quick colorer. This is still far quicker than I would normally go. I'm not a quick crafter in general. I tend to be very slow. I love it, but I'm very slow. This is much faster than I would normally go. Let's try not to throw things all over the place. Get those out of the way. Alright, so we will stick this down, and we may just do a slight cheeky and angle it down ever so slightly. And hopefully I haven't forgotten what order I need to do everything in. Wouldn't be the first time I've forgotten the order. Although most of the time when I do it involves ribbon. Alright, so we want this one as close to that bottom edge as we can. And we will just angle it down ever so slightly. Don't tell anyone, no one will know. And the bottom of I should have done the sentiment on an angle as well. That would have been smart. Now we need to make sure we remember to put the ribbon around as well. So this one is going up the top. That one will go. Actually, let me make sure that I think I need to trim a little bit off the top of this. Yes, I do. Alright, let's just take a little bit. A little bit off the top. Let's just check and make sure that is going to work. Now we are going to have ribbon around the bottom. Alright, we might need to take just a tiny bit more. Let's try again. Let's see. That goes up there, and that one, that's better, and we can, if we slightly angle that bit up, there we go, that will work. The join with the glimmer paper is going to be hidden by the ribbon, so that's fine. So now let me just make sure I remember exactly how we are going to do this. So if that sits at the bottom there, then we just want to angle tiny bit down, tiny bit up. Okay, let's see how this goes. This is where I need someone in my ear reminding me of all the things I need to do or not do. Okay, now we want that down ever so slightly, and let's just make sure if we put that there, that will just about work. We'll just edge that up ever so slightly. Alrighty. Just keep a little bit of border at the bottom. Yep. Slide that across. There we go. Just press down at the top a bit more now that we've got that in place. And then just gonna get some of that excess off the bottom. Alrighty, so we are going to add some, this one is also Last Chance List. This is the Petal Pink scalloped ribbon. This was part of the Storybook Moment suite. I did two, well I did, I think I did two classes with that one, but I think I did about 4 or 5 weeks of classes with that suite at the start of the year because I really liked it. I still really like it, but it is that whole suite, or at least most of it. The stamp sets and dies are Last Chance. The ribbon is Last Chance. Ribbon is Petal Pink, so I'm not too disappointed about that. Petal Pink is not one of my favorite colors, but it works for this one. So I will use it when it works. And I am trying to use more of colors I don't use as much of. And just, yeah, also card styles that that are not my standard sort of style, just trying to use a bit more, excuse my head. Alright, so we'll just add a bow. At least this is a bit easier to tie bow than twine. twine is, I love twine, but I don't get along with it all that well. Alrighty, there we go. Alrighty, now we just add that with a glue dot. Normally I do the ribbon and stuff at the end, but I need to put the ribbon down before this goes on the card base, so I may as well do the bow at the same time. It's better, and we'll just put that in the middle. Alrighty, let's just move that stuff out of the way. Get some room back, and then all that we need to do now is stick this down. So I'll just use the green glue for this one. Okay, put that one down, and then we will add the insert, and then we can embellish. Where has my, right, there it is, Stampin' Seal. It was hiding way up in the corner. And underneath things. Okay. Let's get the insert down. Off. It's a stray bit of adhesive that got stuck, and now we just need to embellish. So for this one I am using the rainbow adhesive dots. So I am using, let's see, I went with, now did I go, let's have a look. I went with, I can't tell. No, I think it's these ones. I find that sometimes, and I don't know if it's just me, Bubble Bath in some lights ends up looking very slightly purple, and then in other lights it's very obviously not. And then we'll just add a few of these. And then there is one more thing that we need to add that I am just going to move that one down there, and that one will be fine there. Wink of Stella. We need, where's my Wink of Stella? So we're just going to add just a little bit to the flames. Just to give them a bit of sparkle. You could also add it to the candles as well if you wanted. I'm just going to do the flames for these ones. I don't know how well that will show up on camera. Probably not all that well. It's quite subtle for the flames, but alrighty, that is the second one done. Now on to the final one. So let's bring this one back in. So for this one, I've used some of the 2024 to 2026 in colors. So we have, for the kits, you've got basic white for the insert, put that to the side for now. Some basic black, petunia pop, and basic white die cuts, a strip of DSP, and then obviously the card base and extra DSP one. Now let me just, I always get these two mixed up. Let me check which one is which because I wrote it all down. All right, so the base is Shy Shamrock and this one is Summer Splash, and we're using Summer Splash ink for this one. So speaking of, let's do the stamping first. So I am just using, actually we need the, not just doing the flowers because we need the sentiment too. We'll do that in the pit. Oh, and also the bee. There's a bit more than that. All right, let's do all the Memento black ones first. So for the sentiment, I'm using the Be Happy sentiment. So it's two separate stamps. I've just lined them up together, and so we will just get that roughly in the middle. Put that one off to the side, and then we just want the bee let me just check. Yep, that's all good. Let's get that. Put that, and we'll colour that in a minute. I'm just going to give that a little bit of time to dry slightly, and we're going to bring in the flower stamp and Summer Splash, and we're actually going to we are going to stamp off. And I'm not too worried about what's over here. It's kind of test run because that's going to be largely covered. So just going to get it going round on different angles so it's in different directions. Need some more down in the bottom here. That should. So once we add in the PSP. We'll just see how this is all going to look once it's assembled, which will help determine if we need any more anywhere else. I think that should be fine. Don't think I could fit a bit more in there, but it might be. Actually, I'm not going to put one there, but I will do a partial one there, just in case. All right, let's put that off to the side. And now, did I use crushed curry for this one? I think I did. So again, you could use crushed curry, or if you don't have the Stampin' Write markers and you want to use blends, you can use Daffodil Delight or Darling Duckling. Or anything else that you've got that will give the same sort of colour. And I think I may have actually used Daffodil Delight in my sample card, but that's all right. This one is slightly different. All right, let's stick this one down. And now let's put this one down. So yeah, so this one is fine border, so I'm going with the green glue. Okay. And then, so we want for this one, it's just a very fine border top and bottom, so we'll add a little border on the side as well. So I will use the green glue again for that reason. And another thing that I just remembered is my paper and ribbon share. So registrations for that are open as well. The sign-up forms for both that and the 12 weeks will be in my email tomorrow. They're also on my Facebook page. So both the paper share and ribbon share are the papers from both the upcoming mini catalogue and the online exclusive. So for the paper share, it is all a quarter pack of all of the designer series paper, specialty paper, and specialty designer series paper. So includes things like glimmer papers and those sorts of things as well, for both online exclusives and the mini catalogue. And then the ribbon share is the same, both online exclusives and the catalogue. And for those who have signed up recently, so in the last few days, the invoices will be coming, so you have not missed out. You have your spot. I will be getting those out shortly. Just a bit easier to do batch lots rather than one by one. All right, now this one I'm going to, I've got the green glue here, so it's, why not, it's easier. This one I'm going to sit flat, but I will pop up the sentiment on some mini dimensionals. Still getting used to the new camera setup because of where it sits and the angle of it. I need to keep remembering that I need to work a bit further forward than what I'm used to. So apologies for any and every time I'm out of view. Hopefully it's mostly for things that you, or entirely for things that you don't necessarily need to see. I will get used to it eventually. Now, put the insert down. This one back over, and then we just need some of the in color flat pearls. Let's move that out of the way, we don't need that one. So these are the 2024 to 2026 pearls, flat pearls. So I'm going to use some of the small ones on some of the flowers. Now let's see how many, let's get a look at how many I've got. 1, 2, 3. I might need to just go with 3 and then add some of these middle-sized ones here. Could potentially add a couple more, but then I'd have one without, and I've only got one left anyway, so there's the final one. All right, let me bring these back in. Get the mess out of the way. All right, so these are the 3 cards for this week's class. So you have until Saturday night to get your orders in to get the kits for these cards. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the projects. These ones are a little different to what I would normally do. But I do like to mix it up a little bit when I can. Next week I am using the Jar of Joy stamp set and punch bundle, and I am also launching next month, which is essentially next week, my Happy Mail Card Club, which is a subscription-based service, and the first one will also be using the Jar of Joy stamp set and punch bundle. So they'll be completely different cards, but that one will be launching next month as well. So information is in my email tomorrow. So if you're not already on my mailing list, head over to my blog at handmadeafterdark.com.au and sign up to my email list to keep up to date with all the latest events and offerings. And thank you for joining me. Have a great week, and I'll catch you next week.